I had a green day, and then right at the end of the day, I decided to turn it red. Isn't that beautiful? Hey, fellow traders, it's Black Coffee Trader. It is Friday, and we had a small little green day, down 600 today on the funded accounts. Again, like I just said, I was green today until the last two trades. I had the stupid idea to take this and the ES long, and very, very bad idea. We'll talk about it here in a minute. On the week, though, even though I had a small red day today, which I'm glad I had a small red day, not one of those big red days like I had on Monday, we did stay pretty much break even on all the accounts this week. So made $6 on this account and down about $3 to $28 on the other. So even though we had the big red day on Monday, which I'm going to try to avoid this in the future, it may happen again, but we're obviously going to try very hard to avoid that. Down about 500 per account, made back 220 something or 200 something on Tuesday, did not trade Wednesday, made back almost 400 yesterday, and then gave back about 100 today. And like I said, we ended up with a week of break even, pretty much down $65 for the week. So I can't complain. I really shouldn't complain. And I'm not really. I am a little bit upset at myself. I did a really good job today of staying out of, or maybe I should reword that. I did a good job of not tying emotion to trades today and literally just taking the trades and allowing the trades to work. Did a good job of it. But these last two trades, I in hindsight, I wanted this market to break higher. It was part of my trade plan today, was for ES to break above these highs and actually go somewhere. And we just didn't do it, and that was my undoing. I was trading this for what I wanted the market to do rather than what the market was telling me it was doing. And at the time, NQ, I'm sorry, was selling off and starting to fall apart. This 18 or 21,840 level was huge today. It was absolutely a suppression area on the NASDAQ, and it really prevented ES from really breaking out. This entire week, we've seen that. Pretty much, I've been looking for this break above the 6,000, and we broke above it a couple times, but we really couldn't stay there. We just simply could not stay there. Looking at the daily chart today, we did have a green candle day, and we did break above that, but we're ending the day, right around that 6,000 area again. So is that correct? It seems like we're ending the day right around that 6,000, or we did end the day, I should say. It's after 5 o'clock. So definitely a little bit of a mistake there. Gave away, two trades, $90 a piece in losses, and that took me from plus 100, pretty much right at 100 per account, down to minus 100 per account. So instead of having a $600 green day, we had a $600 red day. Let's take a look at TradeZella. It was working again today, thank goodness. And there's the stats for today: 633, 42% win rate. Average win to loss wasn't bad. And on the week, we're down $65, which is essentially break even. So happy to make back the big loss we had on Monday. And hopefully next week we can put together a couple more nice green days and hopefully keep the red days to a very much a minimum. That's the goal, like we did today. Yesterday, I did actually have to load up all these trades manually today, but I did get that done. So we do have yesterday's stats in here. I still don't know why that didn't work yesterday, but for some reason it didn't. But TradeZella is up and running again. On the week, let's look at our weekly statistics. I'm kind of curious. 52% win rate. Yeah, it's kind of a ho-hum day, ho-hum week. Really, it was a good week other than Monday. Even today. Today was a tough trading session. It was pretty much a sideways day after the news this morning. That was really the move. The news happened. There were a couple little trades, and so be it. I would say the best one today, the best trade of today, was this pullback long off the 21,720s. This is a pretty big area that I've had marked, and we bounced perfectly off of that. And that was really kind of the push we had in the afternoon, and then we just kind of fell apart after that. So diving through the trades today, I think I took 5. Shouldn't be very difficult to run through them. I took a long on NQ right after the morning session. We had these wicks holding above this 21,758 area, so break and retest long. Rode that up to the next level and got out of there with a little over $100 on that trade. I'm happy with that. Trade number 2, I believe, was an ES trade. This was one that I felt like I mismanaged some. Took this long, and I was a little bit impatient. Let's actually go to TradeZella, because I think I put some good notes in the text box for this trade. That would be, I need to set this to the right day today. And that would be this one right here. Yeah, break and retest of yesterday's high of day in the 6,007 level. Entered too early and ultimately the trade broke down. NQ was rejecting 21,840, which should have been a caution. Had multiple opportunities to exit and should have done so and look for a better entry. Mismanaged this trade. So this was the setup that I took. You know, we had this push up above the high of days. And this, I was looking for this. I've been looking for this all week, and I was probably looking too aggressively. Took that long, and I should have just waited because we definitely would have gotten a better pullback. But ultimately, the mistake I made was allowing this thing to stop me out for a full 150. And several times I almost killed it in here when we got these wicks up and they failed. And I really, really should. This was the mismanagement part. So if I would have killed that, I could have got out of that trade with a negative 40, 50, or 60 bucks and left, you know, 50 to 100 bucks in my account as far as a loss goes. And then if it comes all the way back down, just re-enter that trade, which is really what I ended up doing here on the second trade, or actually the third trade of the day. I re-entered that position after we bounced back up here. And that was a break-even trade, technically a losing trade because of commissions, but pushed up, got the first profit target, it got stopped out. We had this big sell-off, and then really this was kind of setting up. It looked like it was going to be a downtrending day, and then because NQ bounced off this 720, pushed us back up, and then we ultimately failed again. I think the fourth trade of the day was this one here on the Dow. This was a beautiful short. This trade I think might have been around $100 in profit. Let me just check the trades here. Right here, yep, 114 was the profit on that trade. Break and retest of 42,773. ES is rejecting 6,008. Longer trade, sluggish breakdown, but finally got the little move to yesterday's high of day. Good R&R trade. That was a 1.5R trade. So definitely a good setup there, good trade. Glad I took that. And as you can see, 3 consecutive wicks there across the span of about an hour before that finally broke down, and we got, you know, all the way down here to the high of yesterday. Did break below that, and I was like, man, did I take that profit too early? Should have left one down here at the daily 100, but then we pushed back out. So good trade, and again, the good risk to reward, very low risk, high reward, good trade. And that brings us to the last couple trades of the day. This one here was, again, we broke above this yesterday's high. The purple line is yesterday's high, and the 6,007.8 area broke above that, and took that long, one profit target, and then we just kind of chopped around, and I finally just killed this manually without letting it stop me out for a break-even loss. And at this point I was up 94, 96 bucks per account. And then I got the stupid notion I really have to show you what this looked like. And I just got faked into it. And this is, again, I'm not upset about it. I understand exactly what happened. And it's one of those things that I just need to be okay with when I'm wrong and move on and learn something from this. And this is the learning point. I think we might have looked at this earlier. No, re-entry of the break and retest of yesterday's high of day in the 6,000 levels. NQ was breaking down. I took this trade because of the wicks holding. Should not have taken this trade because of the NQ breakdown. Unfortunately, also got shot in the tick. So you can see this was that earlier trade we looked at, just talked about. And this thing held. Look at these nice little wicks right here around this high of day. And I hesitated. Because at the time, NQ, if you can see this, NQ was, let's look at the time slot here. Well, let me do this. So that trade entry here was at 1528, so 328, and at 328, NQ was actually had fallen back below this 840, another rejection off that 840. So that really should have been my caution, and that's the takeaway on this trade, these last two trades. NQ was selling off, and I had already noticed earlier in the day that the 840 seemed to be a rejection spot, or a spot that we just could not seem to break above. And because NQ was below that, that really negates this setup. It negates this trade. And again, like I said at the outset, I wanted this to happen instead of looking at what the market is telling me. The market was telling me there's some weakness. We're starting to sell off. And yes, was trying to hold, but ultimately it couldn't. And I have obviously then re-entered this on this little move back up here, and just stupid. Right at the end of the day, you got a lot of volume into the day, and I just, again, took another loss. So too bad. But I beat myself on these last couple of trades. So put a little note here just so that I have it for reference. 2 really bad long trades, end of day. NQ is breaking down. No good reason to go long here. And that's just, again, how we get better and take notes on what we're doing. So again, we really didn't make any, no harm. We're still in a good position on these accounts. Evals, I took some extra trades on the Russell today. Nothing crazy. But on the eval front, I was down like 20 bucks, 20 or 30 bucks per account. So no big deal. Those are all still right around that 51,000 area. So had a good week. Despite the big red day on Monday, we had a good week and happy about that. Hopefully we can bounce back next week and continue to move the needle along. And hopefully June ends up on a green note. And I need to stop doing the stupid things that we did here end of day. So, all right, I'm going to leave you with that. It's Friday night. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And until next time, take care and so long.